Hey everybody, Patrick here with Rap 4. It is April 22nd, 2013, and this is Monday Night Paintball. Alright guys, time for some paintball news and industry trends. For those of you going to Super Game 45, for the first time ever, they're going to incorporate a sniper competition into the event. This event is being put on by the Moon Gobi brothers. It's going to be on May 3rd and 4th, and it's going to involve targets that are anywhere between 15 and 70 yards away. You're going to be using a pump style marker or first strike rounds. For those of you with a pump marker, registration is going to be $12. For those of you with a first strike capable marker, it's going to be $15, and $10 of every entry is going to be donated to charity. Living Legends is right around the corner. It's going to be May 17th through the 19th, and it is going to be at CPX Sports in Joliet, Illinois. This is one of the few events that you never want to miss. They have it every year, and every year it is an outstanding scenario. You're going to have a chance to play with some of the living legends in the paintball community, whether they're pro players or people who shaped what paintball is today. You're going to have an opportunity to either play alongside them or against them. It's going to be really cool with a huge turnout. Now this week I want to spotlight some exceptional custom work. You might have noticed a new addition to my wall over here. I used to try to put some really cool markers up here, and this one looks like it's going to be a permanent addition. This is, or was, an MKP that was modded by a guy named Cheshire into a Galil Ace. Now Galil is an Israeli firearm. It looks kind of like an AK variant, but they made some improvements on it. In the real world, it's an outstanding weapon system, and in the paintball world, this is an MKP, which is basically one of the highest performance mag-fed markers out there. Now I wasn't there for the customizing process, but from what I can see right now, I can tell you he used some real parts on this, real gun parts that he fused to the MKP body. I know that he took this buttstock and dropped it down lower so it had more of that AK feel to it. This handguard in here is actually off of a Mossberg shotgun. If you could be here, you could see the parts in here that he used to make this look exactly like the real thing, even down to this custom fabricated gas block and front sight group. This thing right here is just a one-for-one really with the real thing. Minus the bore size, you could definitely be fooled that this was the real thing. He even took the time to put a cool camel pattern in here. It's tough to tell maybe with the camera because it's so close, the light gray and the dark gray, but it adds just another element of customization on here to really make this thing so impressive. And out of all of the features of this, the number one functional customization to make this like the real thing is right here. This right here is a Galil magazine release. You see these on a lot of AKs, you see these on a lot of other firearms, but the fact that this magazine now is held in through the rear, there's a notch cut out of it, and it rotates into the marker exactly like the real thing. That is a level of customization that we have never seen a paintball player go to. Now the man who created this by the name of Cheshire mentioned that he was considering selling it, and that's all Omar needed to hear. He jumped on it right away. He wanted to add it to his collection. He intended on putting it on the famous gun wall that you guys saw in the making of the 468 video, but unfortunately I'm going to have to commandeer it and put it over here in a place of honor on the Monday Night Paintball Wall of Fame. So Cheshire, very impressive mod here. This is going to go on the gun wall for the unforeseen future. This is truly as real as it gets. Speaking of Cheshire, if you go check out our Facebook page right now, pinned to the top, there is a review that he just did on the 468. When he was down here delivering the Galil to us, he checked out the 468. He did a very in-depth study on it. He's got some zoomed in pictures and everything, and he goes over pretty much every detail of it. So go ahead and check it out. It's a good review, very informative, and probably one of the best that we've seen from a customer's perspective. Alright guys, for this week's tactical tip, I'm going to talk about shoulder transitions. Now on a previous video, I think it was for our 43 cal Mets, I talked about a little bit about shoulder transitions, but I want to more specifically focus on shoulder transitions with a 2-point sling. Now when most people use a 2-point sling, they usually only consider how they're going to shoot it, how it's going to be comfortable for them shooting right-handed. So they run into a problem of transitioning shoulders, let's say for whatever reason the battlefield dictates that you need to be shooting around the left-hand side of a corner instead of, you know, out of the right-hand side, or maybe you're in a vehicle and you're shooting out of, you know, the left-hand side of the vehicle on the driver's side, and it'd be more advantageous for you to be shooting lefty. Well, with a 2-point sling, the reason why people have kind of shied away from these in recent years is that it seems somewhat limiting, but it's really not. If you were to use this sling in a very typical manner like this, it's kind of limiting in that if I wanted to switch shoulders, basically hanging myself on it. But if you hold it in just a little bit different way, if you go ahead and get your hand and your arm right up through the sling like this, so that only your elbow is outside of it, everything's inside except your elbow. When you go to transition, what you do, it's all very nice and tight right now, it's helping secure it to my body and steadying my aim, but all I have to do to get it off of my arm is just straighten my arm and it pops up and over, and now I'm able to either do the little shoulder flip and shoot lefty, or I can do an entire shoulder change, hand change, and switch the hands on my firing controls, and now I'm shooting lefty. Now ideally, just because it's around my neck and not around my body right now, this isn't a way that I want to be for very long, but if I just need to get up on a corner and flip around and start shooting like that, you know, I can. It's really simple, but somebody had to show me that, so hopefully it helps you guys out who are running 2-point slings out there in the battlefield, and maybe make you a little bit more effective in those urban environments. And if there's anything you'd like to see for next week's tactical tip, just go to our Facebook page and let me know. You can either send a PM or post it straight to the wall. Either way, I'll get it. Now last week I asked you guys what kind of optics you're running, whether it was iron sights, red dots, anything magnified like a scope, or if you were just looking down the barrel, and the vast majority of you answered red dots. Looks like they're really taking off in paintball as far as being effective on the paintball field. Very cool. And that brings us to this week's topic of discussion, which is paintball pistols. How many of you are running a primary and secondary weapon system, meaning you have both a paintball marker like rifle type and a pistol? Go to our Facebook page and let us know. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Now remember, Monday Night Paintball is your show. We make it from the content generated from our Facebook page, so if there's anything you'd like to see in next week's episode, just go to facebook.com/rap4usa and let us know. Looking forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you out there.